Everyone, thank you for coming. It's great to be back here in Mayville, and I want to thank Craig Chafee, Vice President of PPP Future Development, for hosting us here today, as well as Mary Gilstrap from the Independent Oil and Gas Association of New York, and John Healy from our Builders Exchange in the Southern Tier, and of course our County Executive PJ Wendell for being here today. These individuals are on the front lines of the energy production and construction industries here in our region, and they see firsthand how government policies affect our energy costs and our reliability. Now, starting on January 1st, 2026, it will be illegal to build a new home or any commercial construction under 7 stories with a natural gas or propane hookup. Renters and homeowners are already seeing this in the drastic costs and changes in their utility bills. And as the commercial contractors and home builders can attest, thanks to the radical energy policies coming out of our state capital in Albany, we are in the midst of an energy nightmare. And I'm here today in Mayville, as I've been all across my district, with a clear and urgent message that we need to ban the ban on propane and natural gas in New York State. Now, Governor Hochul and the Democrats that control our state legislature, they woke up one morning and decided arbitrarily that they were going to declare war on natural gas and propane in our state. They've made our state ground zero for the Green New Deal. In Washington, D.C., the Green New Deal is a concept, an idea, a pipe dream. In New York, it's the law. And I'm drawing awareness to this because far too many of my constituents don't know what lies ahead. And I've been sounding the alarm on this since I went to Congress back in 2023. But we are now just a few short months away from a ban on natural gas hookups from taking effect. Too many people, they don't understand what's on the horizon and how it's already affecting the housing market and the costs of our existing energy. When I tell my colleagues in Washington, around the country, from states that really enjoy a little more personal and economic freedom, that in January of 26 you won't be able to build a house in my district hooking up to natural gas or propane, their head just can't get around that. Their eyes pop out of their head because they understand the climate that I come from. When you tell people that you represent the areas around Buffalo, they know us for a few things. They know us for chicken wings, they know us for the Buffalo Bills, and they know us for getting a lot of snow and cold. This is an un-American assault on our freedom, on our pocketbooks, but most importantly on our safety. I don't need to tell anyone around here what a lifeline natural gas and propane are in a winter storm electrical outage. In 2022, a storm known as Winter Storm Elliott, some of us knew it as the Christmas blizzard. It was just days before I took office as your congressman. And where I lived in the north towns of Erie County, I don't think Chautauqua County had as severe an impact, but it was the most frightened I've been on the ability to keep my family safe in a weather event. About 3 straight days of hurricane-force winds, feet of snow. 911 collapsed. We knew that there was no help coming if you had a problem. We lost 69 beautiful souls during that storm. And I believe with full conviction that death toll probably would have been tenfold had the Hochul electrification mandate been on the books back then. People use natural gas to heat their homes and to stay alive. Gas stoves and gas fireplaces literally save people from freezing to death in communities like ours. And it's bad enough that people in Western New York and the Southern Tier can't access and drill for the natural gas under our feet through the hydrofracking revolution that's taken hold in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, and places all over the country that has transformed their economies. It's put more natural gas at a cheaper price and more accessibility than we've ever known before. But this adds insult to injury because we have the Saudi Arabia of natural gas under our feet. In fact, natural gas was first discovered for our use right here in Chautauqua County. But what's especially outrageous is that Kathy Hochul was supposed to be the governor that represented us, the first upstate governor in well over 100 years. She's from right up the road in Hamburg. She was from Buffalo, but now she represents the values of being Kathy from Brooklyn. And I've told her directly to her face that the community that she grew up in will be put in a very dangerous position because of her actions on energy policy. And this push to full electrification is not just misguided, it's dangerous. And it's going to have a devastating effect on people's household budgets and our housing supply. There was a study in 21 by the Home Innovation Research Labs that found that the additional cost of building your home all electric adds well over $15,000 to the price tag. And that price is much higher probably now, post-COVID, when the price of building anything has gone up. The cost to put a geothermal heat pump in your house, home builders tell me that's a $50,000 add-on. I think about this situation. You know, we're not a transient community. We lose our population. We're not gaining people moving here from elsewhere. You know, we have a lot of seniors on fixed incomes aging in place in their homes, and they want to stay in their homes. They don't want to leave. They don't want to leave their family. They don't want to go to Point South. But they also have a very limited income. And what happens to the 80-year-old widow living on a Social Security check when that furnace goes out and the HVAC repairman's there and he says, I'm sorry, we've got to outfit you with your $30,000, $40,000 heat pump? Who's going to pay for that? Because that widow can't afford it. And according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, all electric homes, on average, cost a 42% increase in their energy costs. You know, our rates, I was just, you know, our hosts here today were walking me through what the cost of a kilowatt hour in Pennsylvania. It's about 10 or 11 cents cheaper than it is in New York. And that is simply because of the mandates of our state government coming down on the grid, increasing rates, and making it more and more unaffordable. So there's a lot of upfront costs that come with building the house, but then operating the home. You know, in a cold southern tier winter, you could be looking at regular monthly $1,000 a month electric bills to heat your home with electricity if you're not on one of the municipal systems. That's real money that our senior citizens certainly don't have, and most of our community, the residents, can't afford that. And these consequences of these Green New Deal policies, they're already being felt. Governor Hochul's own Public Service Commission that rubber stamps her edicts, they've green-lighted a second utility rate increase because they know that these mandates have driven up the cost. And what's worse is that they're lowering the supply of electricity on the grid. They've taken 3 major power plants in the last 10 years offline: Somerset, Huntley, and Tonawanda. And NRG just up the road in Dunkirk. And they could have used common sense policies and repowered those to natural gas, a clean alternative to coal. They didn't do that. And now the owners of those sites assure me that there's no way that they could just repurpose them at this point because they've been out of commission. They have to totally be relicensed if anyone ever wanted to make them natural gas plants again. It would be like starting over from scratch. I mean, these are the mandates of Albany coming down on the people of the state of New York. And I'm getting calls from my constituents every day. They don't want this. They don't trust this. And they're very concerned about frigid winters here in the southern tier and in the Buffalo area, and what it's going to mean to them and their bottom line and their ability to keep their families safe and warm. These decisions were based on political ideology, not public demand, facts, practicality, or anything in the market that asked for this. And that's why I introduced the Energy Choice Act. This is the fight that I ran for Congress to go have, because I saw the Green New Deal policies in the direction that our state was taking. And I knew we needed federal solutions to go fight back. What my Energy Choice Act will do is to block states and local governments from banning specific energy sources like natural gas and propane in new construction. Because the American people should decide what kind of energy they want to use in their homes if it's safe and it's legal. Natural gas powers our homes, our manufacturing plants, our hospitals, our small businesses. I'm proud to be leading this fight to ban the bans and to protect New Yorkers' rights to affordable energy in their homes. And I am extremely thrilled at the momentum that this bill has received from supporters of every major trade association, whether it's the National Home Builders who are represented here today, or the various energy interests around the country that understand what this means. We actually are up to 79 co-sponsors of this bill from dozens of states, and including several Democrats have co-sponsored this bill. So this is now a bipartisan effort. In the sweeping industry support from national and state level organizations, and you'll hear soon from the Building Exchange of the Southern Tier, who's with me here today. It has helped us with momentum and grassroots support to get this over the finish line. And the coalition we've built is strong. We even have a Senate companion to this bill led by Senator Jim Justice of the state of West Virginia and Senator Shelley Moore Capito, also of West Virginia, an energy-friendly state that understands that we can't have government picking winners and losers. This is a testament to the broad public support for energy freedom and American energy independence. And I've been working very hard to push this bill forward because time is of the essence. We're up against a New Year's Eve timeline. If a home builder doesn't have that permit stamped by the municipality by New Year's Eve, they're out of luck. You're in for full electrification if we can't get this signed into law before then. I have good news. We're going to be marking this bill up in our Energy and Commerce Committee, and I'm assured that we should be able to get it out of committee by early October. And that is a huge step, and that's why I fought for a seat on the Energy and Commerce Committee, to have this jurisdiction and to be the only New Yorker on that committee fighting back against these ridiculous mandates brought to us by our state government. And before closing, I want to add, home ownership has often been the anchor, the cornerstone of the American dream. And right now, our young generation, they're struggling to ever see a place where they can get to home ownership because of high interest rates and high costs of housing. And you're watching as Albany is now intentionally, on purpose, putting their thumb on the scale and making that American dream all the more impossible for these young people, adding tens of thousands of dollars to the front end of construction that pushes that dream home just that farther down the path for people. This is an Albany problem, and I'm working to find a Washington solution to fix it. And it's one of the main reasons I wanted to serve on this committee and the fight that I planned when I first started running for Congress. New Yorkers now have a seat at the energy table with my service on this committee, and I'm going to make damn sure to use this position to fight for common sense policies that will ensure that we have access to clean, affordable, and reliable energy in this state now and hopefully forever. So thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to welcome our county executive, who's been a great partner in this fight and someone that's led us very ably for now many years. Our county executive, P.J. Wendell. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Congressman. And as he said, we are championing this together. I've said this from the very beginning. We're looking for choice. What Albany is doing, and the governor is taking away that choice. We are the birthplace of natural gas. It was discovered right here. Pennsylvania is not walking away from oil. Why do we choose to walk away from natural gas? This isn't just your furnace. It's your stove, your hot water heater, your oven. Those are the things that we rely on. And just as the congressman said, clean, reliable natural gas. We know that electric is not always reliable. And we know that in the event of a Western New York storm and power is out for days, we will start to have serious life issues here, not only in Western New York, but in Chautauqua County. I could not be behind this anymore. I have championed this since coming in office, so I urge everyone to please get behind this. I stand here with the congressman, and let's get this righted. Let's make sure that we have a choice for our energy and a choice for our homes here in New York State.
Thank you so much, Mr. County Executive. And now from the Independent Oil and Gas Association of New York State, Mary Gilstrap. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Congressman. I'm here as not only a representative of the oil and gas industry, but also a citizen of the state of New York. We have watched everything the Congressman has discussed coming to life. And ultimately, both as small business owners, the Oil and Gas Association owners, and as citizens, we see a very rough road ahead. So we are very pleased and would love to thank the Congressman for putting together the Energy Choice Act to ban the bans, as he calls it, so that not only small businesses that are in this state can operate efficiently and we can see economic growth, but the citizens of the state will have access to warm heat in the winter and vehicles that are reliable and gas stoves. Ultimately, we need everyone to be aware, but this is the best bill I've seen in a long time. So once again, on behalf of the Oil and Gas Association, I want to thank you for your work.
Thank you very much, Mary. Thank you for being with us. And last but not least, John Healy from the Builders Exchange of the Southern Tier. Thank you, John.
Just to reiterate a couple points that the Congressman said so well and the others have. Just number one, freedom to choose. Architects, engineers, small businesses, residential homeowners, they should have the freedom to choose what energy supply for their house. Electricity, gas, doesn't matter. They should have the freedom to choose. Affordable and reliable natural gas shouldn't be banned in favor of all electric requirements in the law. The second one, infrastructure. The electrical infrastructure is just not in place to keep up with the demands that's going to be created by the law. The electrical supply, there's just not enough for it right now in the state for what's going to be created by the law. And then costs. Residential and commercial construction costs have never been higher. Homeowners are paying more to build, to rebuild. Same with commercial construction. Costs are through the roof, and it's just going to be adding additional costs. And then we just want to thank the Congressman for all his work leading this fight.
Thank you so much, John. Really appreciate it. And again, I'd like to thank Craig Chafee from PPP Future Development for hosting us today. And I'd be happy to take any questions y'all have.
Congressman, you mentioned that there are Democrats who have signed on to your bill that's in the House right now. I have a question regarding other Democrats and Democrats from New York State. Any of them that have the governor's ear, have they been talking to her about it?
Well, I think that they're starting to feel the pinch, at least the upstate Democrats are feeling the pinch from homeowners. As you see these rate increases and you know what's on the horizon, and this is coming to light, I think they're starting to hear more and more. I think a few haven't told me no yet. We'll put it that way. I think they realize this was an overly ambitious package of laws that, New York State in their rush to see who could be the greenest in the country, who can, try to emulate California the most. This is not a state you want to follow on energy policy. California, known for its roving blackouts and brownouts and unaffordability, should not be the state that you try to emulate. But this was an epidemic across the country in the blue states of America where they all raced to see who could adopt the tightest climate standards. And now it's all got to be paid for and executed. And the impact and the pain on the citizens is not understood yet. The builders across the state did a survey as to what the awareness was of their customer base of New York's new draconian all electrification mandates on new construction. Only 5% of customers seemed aware. And that's why I've been doing this rollout across my district to bring people's awareness to the fact that you might be angry at your utility because you got a bill and the rate went up. But let's ask the real questions. Why did the rate go up? Because of decisions made in Albany and rubber stamp decisions by commissions, by the governor's mandate, that they had to raise rates. They've ignored investing in our grid for generations. And now they're demanding more from the grid than it's capable to produce. So these mandates have come down on the utilities, and they're just meeting their legal obligation to the state, their regulator, who is telling them that they have to beef this up because they're going to make everybody go all electric. And why do I want to stop this dead in its tracks? Because it starts with new construction. You think it stops with new construction? This is just to get the foot in the water. And then it will be retrofitting of homes. Mark my words. They will not stop until you no longer can have the natural gas stove, the natural gas furnace, the propane hookups, any of the things that we rely on in dangerous winters in this community. And that's why I think that this legislation, it's simple. It's literally a page and a half long. This isn't hard to understand. This bans the ban. You can no longer ban a legal, safe, reliable source of energy because of how it's created. And the irony of most of their decisions in their war on natural gas and propane is that 40% of the total electricity output in the state of New York is created by burning natural gas. We get about 20% from hydropower. God gave us Niagara Falls, and that's amazing. And that's the cleanest opportunity because that water's going over the cliff. We have nuclear, which we haven't built a new nuclear power plant in an awful long time, and the governor, I salute her for waking up and realizing we're going to need nuclear power. But you don't tear down a bridge before you build a new one. So yes, we need to get into nuclear power. The AI war between us and China for supremacy in the area of AI and all the data needs that we need for this new digital world we live in are demanding more and more and more power. And it's a finite resource. That's why the rates are going up on top of the state regulations, because there's only so much of it because we're not creating enough. Those power plants that we took offline, we didn't backfill with anything else. And then we wonder why we have a deficit. Well, you took 3 major power plants offline in Western New York. The natural gas is good enough to create electricity, but not good enough for you to burn in your home. That's hypocritical policy. And it makes absolutely no sense. They used junk science for any of the studies they did and tried to convince people that natural gas was harmful to their lives. Meanwhile, China puts a brand new coal-fired power plant online every single month. This is the reality of the AI war. This is the new space race. When the Soviet Union and the U.S. raced to the moon, this is what the AI battle is. And failure is not an option in the United States, yet we have California and New York, 2 of our most populous states, declaring war on energy. Energy creation is what will fuel that AI war. And we're putting ourselves at a severe disadvantage.
What kind of teeth is in the act that would force states to have to comply with?
They will just be functioning against the law if they ban it. So we want an American energy revolution. Just like Pennsylvania had a hydrofracking revolution that transformed its economy. We don't enjoy that same largesse on this side of the border. They enjoy lower taxes, lower energy rates, more freedom. We don't.
Do you have any reason to believe that it won't be the president's desk before the first of the year? And does that, to reiterate what you did in Lancaster, does that supersede any other state law?
This would be federal law and would supersede states' rights to ban sources of energy. So I believe this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be fighting to get the floor time. I'm meeting with the majority leader next week, Steve Scalise, to make the case as to why this is so critical to the state of New York to get this over the finish line and get this onto the president's desk by December 31st. Because time is of the essence, and we have to pass this and make this law before their nonsense takes hold and becomes effective. Any other questions?
I think just reiterate the impact on the homeowner. So if a new home, a new construction is electric only, and then their electric rates are going up, that's extra money they have to dish out. What kind of an impact does it have on them when it comes to
There's only so many dollars in people's pockets. I mean, we're not an area that enjoys explosive changes in salaries. I mean, we are not a growth community. We're seeing companies, unfortunately, pack up and leave. We had another one here in Chautauqua County today announce that they're leaving. And, you know, the company had suffered a lot of debt, and I don't know exactly what's to blame for them to leave. But it's no secret it costs a lot of money to do business here. The regulatory environment's lousy in New York. We have a bad business climate compared to other states in America. So we have to keep this freedom in place of people to choose their energy. Otherwise, we've got further barriers to future growth. And you know, you look at people on fixed incomes. You know, the barriers to building, the costs are that much higher to build it out. But the monthly operations of the home, the electricity is far more expensive than natural gas. And there's no solutions coming from the state to make that better. It's only getting worse. When did our inflation really kick in? When fuel prices went up about 4 years ago. When fuel went up a couple bucks a gallon, people felt it at the grocery store pretty quick after that. And now with electricity rates going in the same direction, that's going to have the same impact. All right, thanks everyone. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.